Known as the father of Romanticism, Jean Jacques Rousseau developed revolutionary ideas during the Age of Enlightenment which changed the landscape of European philosophy, challenging the very foundations of societal norms and political thought. His ideas resonated so profoundly that they inspired the leaders of the French Revolution, as well as contributed to the development of modern human rights. Rousseau's work offers us a lens through which we can analyze our own societal structures and reflect upon the timeless pursuit of a more just and equitable world. In this video, we will take a look at 3 of Rousseau's groundbreaking concepts which continue to ignite debate to this day. Contrary to prevailing views of his time, Rousseau believed that civilization was an inherently negative force on human nature. Consequently, he developed the theory of the state of nature, a hypothetical condition of humanity before the establishment of political and social institutions. In this idealized state of nature, humans were essentially good, free, and equal, living in harmony with nature and one another. Rousseau used the concept of the state of nature to posit that human beings were born good and pure, but were corrupted by the society into which they were born. He argued that human vice and passions developed as people started to come together in groups and began comparing what they had with their neighbours. The resulting inequality in turn cultivated jealousy, pride, and selfishness within individuals, thus corrupting the true nature of humanity as pure and selfless individuals. We can see elements of these ideas mirrored in today's society, as a lot of discontent can be attributed towards what people are unable to acquire. It could be argued that the absence of any knowledge of potential wealth and material gain would prevent the yearning for the acquisition of the material wealth we see portrayed in advertising or celebrity culture. However, Rousseau claimed that once humanity had been embraced by the shackles of civilization, we would be unable to return to the state of nature. He therefore advocated for fundamental changes to civilization in order to encourage expression of our natural instincts and feelings before the corrupting nature of society took hold. Rousseau was the first European philosopher to posit the idea that humans should be guided by their natural instincts and feelings as opposed to reason, given the high esteem he placed on the untrammeled nature of humanity. This idea radically contrasted the values of the Enlightenment, which held reason as the fundamental guiding force of human endeavors. Rousseau believed that by the time one had arrived at adulthood, their natural spontaneous feelings would have been subdued by the calculating nature of reason. He therefore proposed fundamental changes to education, which he believed should encourage a child's natural tendencies and expressions rather than prohibit and discipline them. He believed that the optimal way to do this was not through the theoretical and conceptual teachings within books and classrooms, but through direct experience of the world and other people. Rousseau illustrated his groundbreaking reimagining of the educational process in his 1762 work Emile, which depicts in novel form the education of a child brought up to cultivate their natural goodness, in line with the state of nature and away from the corrupting force of society. Emile is incentivized by love and sympathy, not discipline and punishment, and this, for Rousseau, would ultimately allow the inherent positive qualities of the young Emile to develop and flourish. Although Emile had a profound impact on discussions around educational philosophy, the application of such a system was arguably difficult and idealistic. Nevertheless, Emile served as inspiration for the new educational system in France following the French Revolution. Rousseau's critique of individual reason led to the development of his concept of the general will, outlined in his 1762 work, The Social Contract. Rousseau claimed that there was a collective entity to human society which transcended individual will and reason. This collective entity had a will of its own, entirely separate from the often contradictory will of individuals. He called this collective entity the general will, which is established through debate and discussion between sovereign individuals. Rousseau also developed the idea of legislators, who are informed individuals who instinctively understood the general will of the people and could therefore enact laws on their behalf, which is an idea that contains obvious dangers. Rousseau's political philosophy had a major influence on the French Revolution. However, there are certain elements within it which have the potential for problematic interpretations. For Rousseau, the general will is the highest political authority within a society, even transcending individual will and freedom. We can see elements of Rousseau's general will reflected in the ideological movements of the 20th century, such as communism and fascism, whose existence was born of a democracy that claimed to represent the people, yet denied individual rights, and placed individual leaders at the top who claimed to speak on behalf of the general will. The political leaders of communism and fascism succumbed to the corruption of absolute power and the possession of the ideal utopian state, the existence of which justified any means. Rousseau's attack on the value systems of the Enlightenment firmly placed him as the father of the Romantic period, which began soon after his death at the end of the 18th century. His focus on the injustices and corruptions of society, as well as his emphasis on emotion over reason, have inspired revolutionary movements and sparked debate across multiple disciplines. Rousseau's work calls us to scrutinize our notions of the very fabric of society and political institutions. However, the delicate balance between individual liberty and collective responsibility must be calibrated if we are to take anything from his work forward with us on the journey of humanity.